A lot of people are paying attention to this, especially the president, who took some time less than an hour ago at a meeting of the veterans of foreign wars to remember the servicemen that were killed in Friday's tragedy.
And yesterday I conveyed to their families a message on behalf of all Americans. We honor your loved ones. We salute their service. And as you summon the strength to carry on and keep bright their legacy, we stand with you as one united American family.
The official count is at 12 dead, 58 wounded, with 9 still listed in critical condition, and much remains unknown about why Holmes would enter a midnight showing of the new Batman film dressed in body armor, carrying an assault rifle, shotgun, and Glock handgun. But a picture is slowly beginning to emerge of a man who began buying weapons 4 months ago, even making a recent large online purchase of 6,000 rounds of ammunition. This tragedy in Colorado has naturally reopened the conversation about gun control in America. And joining us now is Democratic Congressman Joseph Crowley of New York. Sir, it's good to have you with us today. And a lot of questions swirling around this, but the big question is now whether Washington has a political appetite to take on gun control. And I'd like to start by playing some sound from Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson on Sunday about massacres like this one in Colorado. Take a listen.
And are these massacres, horrible as they are, and people here in Washington looking for solutions, are they just a fact of life and death in America?
Well, I hate to say it, but they probably are.
Sir, do you agree with him? Is there nothing that can be done? Is this what we have to accept in modern-day America?
Well, first, Thomas, let me just say on behalf of the people I represent in New York, our thoughts and prayers are with the victims in Aurora, Colorado. But if the senator's statement, I guess we have to live with this, it will give a whole new meaning to the term night at the movies. The idea or notion that, scores of people go out on an evening to see the premiere of a new movie, and unbeknownst to them, there's someone there ready to perpetrate such an act of violence, indiscriminate killing and maiming, that becomes almost an accepted part of American culture and the way in which we conduct our lives, I think is abhorrent. I think it really needs to be reviewed and revisited. I do think, though, we should take this time, and again, this predictable tragedy almost, to really begin again the dialogue and the discussion, the conversation that America has to have on the issue of gun violence and access to these types of weapons and the amounts of ammunition that this individual was able to obtain online. And doesn't that raise, I know we're looking at this the day or 2 or 3 after, but didn't that raise any flags with anyone that someone would order 6,000 rounds of ammunition? Who orders that outside of the National Guard, outside of the Army, outside of the Navy? I don't know. But that certainly would have sent up, I think, red flags for me if I was made aware of that.
Sir, as you say, this is a predictable tragedy, but as we have this conversation, and we're having it now 18 months after the fact of Gabrielle Giffords, a congresswoman was almost assassinated out front of a Safeway simply by holding a Congress on your corner. Are we to believe that Congress takes more seriously what happened in Aurora than having one of their own almost assassinated 18 months ago, and that now something's going to get done?
I think that Gabby Giffords would have said this as well, that she's no different than anyone else. She's a citizen of this country, and I think she ought to be given the right to freely assemble without fear of assault, which took place to her. But let's go back even further. Let's go back to Columbine, again in Colorado. Let's go to Virginia Tech. Let's go to Tucson, and now back again to Colorado and Aurora. I think the time is for a discussion. What it really shows, though, I think, quite frankly, is the hold that the NRA has on members of Congress. When you look at the recent vote that took place here in the House to hold Attorney General Holder in contempt was being viewed, and the NRA was holding members of Congress' feet to the fire. If they voted against the motion to hold him in contempt, they would hold it against those lawmakers. That's an enormous amount of power, especially when I can't even connect the dots between the Attorney General vote and gun ownership.
Sir, as we talk about this 18-month period now, as you reference back to Gabby Giffords and what we're living in today, we've seen 2 men with apparent mental health issues legally obtain guns, massacre people. How do we get the guns out of their hands? Because we live at a time now where it is harder to get a 12-pack of Claritin D than it is to get an assault weapon.
I couldn't have said it better myself. The reality is, I think, as Mayor Bloomberg has talked about as well, we need not only to have a dialogue and a conversation, we need to do something about it before another. Look, it may happen again, but it ought not happen again without us trying to do something about it. If there's a problem, we need to try to fix it. That's the role of Congress. It may be state legislatures that need to be involved. The issue of mental health is an issue that needs to be dealt with, and I said this after Gabby's incident as well. So this is not just about gun control or the NRA, it's also about mental illness, and I suspect in this case as well. I don't know enough about the case yet to comment, but it seems to me on its face that Mr. Holmes has some very, very serious issues.
Sir, and shooting straight from the hip here, do you expect anything really to change?
It's my hope that something, at the very least, that we begin to have a discussion, a real discussion, and not just simply dismissing it, as I think Senator Johnson did, as if we can do nothing about it. We have the tools to do something about it. We had an assault weapons ban that was in place until 2004. It expired because Congress failed to reenact it. We need to put at least that back on the books. I don't know if it would have had the impact we would like to have seen on this particular case, but simply saying that we're not going to do anything about it, not even discuss it, not even have a dialogue, that is disgusting.
Congressman Joseph Crowley of New York. Sir, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Thomas.